Welcome to the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast, where we don't take from insurance companies. Here are your hosts, Mr. Jordan Comstock and Mr. Ben Tuine.
All right. Welcome to another exciting episode of this Say No to PPOs series on the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast. I am your co-host today, Jordan Comstock. I got on the line with me, Ben Tuine. Ben, what's up, man?
Hey, Jordan. Man, busy day. Today's my son's birthday. For those of you that are listening, birthday. Happy birthday to little Welton. It's November 16th. Yesterday was my wife's birthday, and last week Saturday was my father-in-law's birthday.
Holy smokes.
The great thing about birthdays is that I get to buy food that I want to eat, that I know that, like last night we had this low country boil, and I went to Costco and I cleared them out of all of the king crab that they had, and all of the jumbo shrimp, and it was...
Dude, and you didn't even call me.
I'm sorry, dude. I mean, you can come over later today, but man, our house...
Leftovers, huh? Leftovers, all right.
Yeah, I slept like a king last night, you know, it was just crazy. And then, awesome. Next door, remember that field that I talked about? I mean, you've been to my house.
Yeah,
they're digging the flipping ground. I started looking at it and thought, son of a, you know, it just pissed me off, you know, that. Anyway, my wife, she's from Savannah, Georgia. She is a bulldog in, you know, Georgia bulldog. But she called the city and just started chewing people out because they had people, big trucks up and down the street, no notice whatsoever that they're going to start the construction. Ended up contacting the developer and put our name down for the 3 lots that are just next to us. So, you know, I'm sure she's going to force me to buy 3 of them, but just a quick update there. I know.
That's funny, dude.
Anyway, speaking about Georgia, we got some Georgia guys on the line today. Is that right, Jordan?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we have Davey Clay and Josh Smith. Both of them are partners and owners in dclay.com, a service that we think is much needed in the industry. Davey and Josh, how you guys doing today?
Great, Jordan. Appreciate you guys having us on today.
Yeah, how you doing, Jordan and Ben? We appreciate it.
Hey, it's our pleasure. You know, I love the southern accent that you guys are pulling on there, and I'm looking at your website, and you have 912 phone numbers. So are you in the Savannah, Augusta area?
We are in Savannah. It's our hometown.
No way.
Our Georgia Bulldogs did lose last weekend.
Oh, man.
We did lose last weekend.
We almost had to do this podcast.
You know what really ticked me off is that I'm looking at the college rankings right now. So on the AP polls, they're number 7. Well, on most of them, they're number 7, looks like. You know, and good old Mark Richt is number 2 on the AP poll, him in Miami.
You better believe we're looking at that.
Ben, that actually gets me to a point. In your podcast last week, you were talking to the AR Ninja, and you used the term insurance bulldog. And Josh and I have kind of taken that on. We are Bulldogs and we are insurance guys.
Hey,
so.
yes.
Let's take that term on.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to work on that.
I'm going to edit that one out. I don't want to embarrass myself in front of the Georgia Nation.
That's good radio right there.
No, you got to leave it, Ben. You got to leave it. It'll be good.
Well, cool, man. Well, Savannah. My wife is from Savannah. We're down there. What do they call that right there? The river.
River Street.
River Street. Yeah, we go down there, and they have some great seafood places there too. But love Savannah. That's probably my number 1 town in the U.S. I just love going there every year.
Except we love it too. Yeah, born and raised here, so it's a good spot.
Except for
there's from there.
There's one street I was looking up on what's that food app? It used to be called Urban Spoon, and I think they changed the name.
Oh, yeah.
Zomato. I was looking on that, and I found this restaurant that sold low country boil. It was $20, but it was like 5 pounds worth of food. So I called my father-in-law and said, hey, can you meet us at this address? And it was like on Martin Luther King something. He gets there, and I'm there already, and my wife is like, I am not getting out of this vehicle. It is like in the middle of the ghetto. And, you know, my wife is Caucasian American. She's Scottish. Scottish redneck. I don't know exactly what you call her. Scottish
redneck.
But she's from the heart of Georgia. She's a white American. Yeah. I pull up to this place, and I'm brown. I'm a big Samoan looking guy, and I get there and I feel like I'm at home. In the heart of the ghetto. And she's like, when you get out, I am locking the door. So I did. And my father-in-law pulled up, and the look on his face, he's like, you called us to this neighborhood? He's like, we're going to get lynched.
Oh, boy.
But that
was... guess now, but the low country boil was delicious.
It was. My wife forced me to wrap it up. She's like, we're not sitting here. We're going home. So we took it home. It was $20, and it was literally 5 pounds worth of food. Too bad I can't go back there. My wife told me I wasn't allowed to go back there because she just didn't feel safe. But man, Georgia, I tell you, there's so many different pockets of places where you can buy good quality food for cheap.
We're certainly spoiled by the low country bowls and the oyster roast and everything we have.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Oysters. Oh, man.
And a low country boil this weekend for the Georgia-Kentucky game. To be quite honest.
I hope Georgia just comes and just completely demolishes Kentucky. Apologize to anybody in Kentucky that's listening, but
yeah, do that.
Yeah.
So cool. So guys, let's get right to it. And can you tell our audience how you guys got into just starting dental claim support?
Sure, Jordan. Well, I was actually at the University of Georgia and was a risk management and insurance major. So I ended up going to grad school, and in the meantime, I needed a job. So the first job I received was at a dental office verifying insurance. And so next thing you know, I was managing a practice, and I hired Josh here and so we worked for a group, and the group wanted to start a group billing practice, or kind of a central billing location. So we headed that up and ran that. And what we found out, we had 8 or 9 offices at the time. And what we found out, that billing was being done. Everybody had the same software, but yet the billing was being done differently in all 8 offices. So we developed a system, came up with that, and really nailed down a way of collecting money from the insurance companies. So that's where we got started, and we decided to go on our own and help dentists around the country with that.
That's pretty neat.
Super cool.
Basically what you did is you created a service. So like these large DSOs, they have a centralized billing location. And I have a few clients that are large DSOs, primarily solo practitioners that kind of own it, no private equity. And the numbers that they show me on a per practice basis, every practice that comes and partners with them, it's quite amazing when they find efficiencies, especially when it comes to billing. Like what are some of the things that you see? You said that you saw things were being different from practice to practice in terms of how they build. Can you elaborate on some of the examples that you're seeing that you saw back then?
Absolutely. This is Josh now. It's just every single practice, again, like David was saying, was being done differently. You had adjustments being done or being posted improperly. Different office managers / billing coordinators that didn't understand really what in-network meant versus out-of-network. And I just remember looking at Davey, him looking at me, and we were like, we can kind of go out and do this our own, because we knew if we were only in 8 offices and we saw that the differentials in 8 offices, what's going on in the hundreds of thousands of offices throughout the United States. So, I mean, when we saw that it was being done, it wasn't just the posting aspect and adjustments and making sure that fees were entered the right way. It was also claim research. We saw that was being done differently. Sometimes there wasn't even any research being done. It was just resubmitting a claim. And the reason that claim didn't get paid in the first place is because something was wrong with it. So just resubmitting it's not going to do anything. So, that's one thing that we kind of found ourselves on, and that's why we increased these numbers of every single office. I mean, in the 8 offices that we had, a lot of them started out around the 85 to the 90 percentile, and honestly, that's not bad throughout the United States. It's usually around 91, but every single one of these offices ended up being at 99 to 100% when we were when we were basically leaving the group that we were working with. So, to Davey's point and to what he created, it was a standardized way of doing things, and I kind of followed suit, and I'm glad I got the opportunity to do it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is it pretty consistent in the billing policies for state by state? Meaning, do you find that you have to apply a different policy in a new state, like even for like a Delta Dental, or is it pretty much across the board, everybody should be implementing the same billing practices?
The system that we run is pretty standard. The only difference will be the fee capping, depending on which state the office is in, based on whether you can charge, if a non-covered service is being charged, whether you can charge your UCR fee or you have to go by the PPO fee on a non-covered service. So that's really the only thing that changes per state when it comes to our system. Now, as you know, there's Delta Dental for almost every state. There's, different Blue Crosses. So what the difficulty of the insurance world is it's always changing. So every policy is always changing. Every plan is different. So not one plan is like another, or not one insurance company is like another. So their EOBs look different. The checks look different. The plans all look completely different. So what we have to do is, we're always learning stuff on the go as well. Policies are always changing. Employers are changing to United Cordy, to Delta Dental, to MetLife. So it's always a constant grind of learning and evolving with the insurance companies and not allowing them to continue what they do and installing payments. So that's our job, and that's what we do, is kind of not argue with the insurance companies, but we're going to make sure that the dentist is getting paid for what they produce.
Cool.
Very cool.
If you were to guess the common pitfalls for the average dental practice when it comes to claims billing or claim support in general, what do you think are the top 3 issues, 3 things that maybe most practices just need to stop doing?
Number 1 would be data entry. Data entry is huge. We see this daily in the many offices that we have. We're all through all the different states, and it seems to be a common underlying issue. Date of birth entered incorrectly, Social Security numbers entered incorrectly, ID numbers entered incorrectly. So that's number 1. Insurance verification is number 2. Not verifying the patients. The patients don't necessarily know what they have and what they don't have. They think they have all. They get 2 free cleanings a year. We know that's not true. It costs money to get those cleanings. But verifying that they actually have what they say they have. Don't take their word for it that I have Delta Dental. Which Delta Dental? I need to know. We need some verification done there as well. And then the third thing is just that claim follow-up. And what we have found is that that's not being done consistently throughout the country. Honestly, that the office has a team in place or a person in place in their office, and maybe they're too busy doing other things. As you all know, talking to insurance companies is not easy. It takes time. No. You're sitting on hold nonstop. Your different websites and this and that. But what we've developed is that system to where we're not relying on the insurance company to give us incorrect information. We're going through and making sure that we're not just going to resubmit a claim if they tell us it's not on file. We're going to find out, why is it not on file? What can we do to get it paid sooner than later? We're not going to let it go 30 days without getting a phone call asking, why hasn't this been paid yet? What's going on with it? Can I appeal it? What do I need to do? So it's just those 3 things, though, are hindering offices from getting paid from the insurance companies.
Awesome.
Gotcha.
No, thanks for the tips. Yeah. I got a question for you guys. So how do you handle denials? For instance, treatment was necessary, but insurance denies the claim.
Appeal.
Appeal. How do you walk us through that?
We're going to literally appeal anything and everything. All insurance companies work a little bit different with appeals. Some have different. Some have to mail. Some you can e-claim. Some you can reference the old claim number with a new narrative. But what we always try to tell our dentists is the more information, the better. If you know you're doing an intricate case, write down a very intricate note. Kind of take advantage of that opportunity. Help your biller out in a sense. We're in systems throughout the United States. Therefore, a lot of times with our doctors that really take it seriously, we can copy and paste a narrative and kind of scoot it onto the insurance company. But in other cases, you really need a detailed breakdown as to what happened. And a lot of times, though, with some denials, they're just denying it to deny it. I don't want to harp on insurance companies, but sometimes that dental consultant might have gotten out of bed and just didn't feel good that morning. Therefore, he didn't want to process any claim. So
absolutely,
you got to follow up on it, and you just have to stay on top of it. And I would have to say that we've got around the 95% appeal overturn appeals.
That's pretty cool. That's awesome.
It goes, develop your templates. Make sure things work. You have to. Every case is treated differently, but stay on top of it. And there are certain things that can be appealed that people don't know about. You can have a fixed partial denture downgraded to just a removable, and when that happens, office managers, billing coordinators, everybody needs to know, send in a basic narrative. Send in why that patient didn't want that removable. They have to process that. I mean, yes, it's an alternate benefit, but it doesn't say anywhere in that patient's plan that they can't have a fixed partial denture. So send in an appeal, you'll get you another $1,000. These are things we try to stress throughout the dental community. We're coming on here to try to open up doors for new office managers, realize that there are ways you can kind of beat these insurance companies and just play the game. They're playing a game with you. You got to play it back.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I read, Melissa, our latest episode, the one that we posted yesterday, we had Melissa back on the show. Yeah. And she posted an article on her Facebook page, which was kind of interesting. It was written by Dr. Milton Packer, a medical doctor, posted November 8th, 2017 on medpagetoday.com. The interesting thing about this article is I'll just summarize it for you. He was asked to lecture at a local meeting. I don't know exactly what state he's in. So he went, and there were about 25 physicians in the room. The average age for the physician was he guessed maybe above 70 years old. So it was an older group of physicians.
Above 70, you said?
Above 70, yeah. And after the meeting, he found out that they were all retired. None of them were actively involved in patient care. So
yikes!
Yeah. So he started to ask them questions. Why are you guys here? And they said, well, we work for insurance companies. And we want to know what the latest and the greatest is, and Dr. Packer's thinking, well, that's great. They want to. I can convince them that they need to cover certain drugs that keep on getting denied. But the interesting thing is that they were there to learn how to continue to deny claims.
Yes,
nice. Wow. Yeah.
And
that's the name of the game, to make a profit in the insurance industry.
It's so interesting because later in the article, it says that their main focus as medical insurance consultants, medical doctors that are insurance consultants, is that their whole goal is to deny claims in an effort to save the system. Like in their words, they're saying, we have to save the healthcare system by forcing people to not use their insurance as often as people are, and they actually get paid bonuses every time they meet a certain denial percentage, So this Dr. Packer just gets frustrated and walks out of the room, and he says that he was the lecturer, but that day he was actually the student, and it was very eye-opening to him to kind of find out how the retired doctors view medicine from the perspective of not being in the practice submitting claims for patient care. So anyway, what you guys do is pretty fascinating, because I think more people in the industry need to pay attention to this issue. But I want to steer things in a different direction here. So you have a business called Dental ClaimSupport. I have a ton of clients, and I've recommended to them that they should be working with a company that does this for a living, because I've seen the benefits. I can name many big practices that most of the listeners know that use a third party to help with claim support. So give to me like sort of one of the biggest reasons why, or at least share with our listeners why it's important for them to consider an outside firm to handle claim support. In this case, dental claim support.
Yeah, a lot of people, and I would agree with Milton Packer's statement that 100% that's what they're doing, and they're always trying to find ways to deny things. And and getting to your next point is that the dental office doesn't ever, most of them don't ever follow up on those denials. So the insurance companies are winning. They're beating the dentist because the staff isn't following up on those claims and on those denials. So that's, again, the number one reason to outsource it to somebody that does this for a living, because that's what we do on a daily basis. And
you guys have it down to a science.
Exactly. And, and I would say another point is don't wait too long. Don't wait till your insurance agent report is unattainable. When we get new clients, we're having to write off timely filings left and right because they waited too long. And
what's too long? Give us an example of that.
Well, I would say most dental plans have a 1-year timely filing limit on the claim.
Okay.
So that means that if you haven't filed it and got it to them within that 1-year time period, you're going to have to write that claim off. Now, as you know, insurance companies are always changing, and I think it's Emeritus now has. I don't want to.
Yeah, anybody listening, there's a 90-day timely filing. It's Reliance Standard, Emeritus, and most Medicaids throughout the United States.
Most Medicaids do have a 90-day timely filing period. So if you don't get that claim to them within 90 days or follow up on it, if you think you sent it to them and you maybe sent it to the wrong person, you had some data entry problems and that validation error didn't go through your clearinghouse, it most likely didn't get to them within that 90-day period, and they're not going to pay on those claims. So that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, sorry for cutting you off. Have you run into a situation where the office has been submitting, and the insurance company says, we need this, we need that, we need this. The office already submitted that information, and then the next letter they get was, oh, you've missed the window to submit the claim, the timely filing.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
You've seen that?
Yes, we have.
That was one of the reasons that Josh and I got started was because one of the very first offices that we got in, the doctor said, oh, we don't need you. My person here is doing it fantastic, a fantastic job. And we said, okay, well, let's take a look because your numbers are not where they maybe need to be. And what we found was the person, the doctor would check it on the first of the month, their insurance agent report, and the person would just refile the claim, and she would refile it 5 and 6 times at a time, each. So every time the doctor would go to look the day before, they would just refile the claim. So it would go off the insurance agent report. So what we found was they weren't actually doing anything to change the claim. They were just refiling the same exact claim with the same errors every single time. So the insurance company is still going to they just denied it 6 times, as opposed to getting the right information. But yeah, the biggest thing with that, Ben, is getting an NEA and having that NEA number, the National Electronic Attachment number, so that when they say they don't have what they have, all you have to do is give them that 7 or 8 digit number, and they can pull that straight out of their system and say, oh, and that happens all the time. We never got what you sent. We never got what you sent in. You say, all right, check this NEA number. Oh, automatically they found it out of thin air in their system. So when they say they don't have it, most of the times they do. You just got to know how to get them around to find it.
Yeah, I like that. I think
very cool.
Kind of overlooked that even with some previous podcast episodes, how important that NEA number is. So thanks for hitting on that. I totally agree. I've never heard that before. So,
and most office managers, when we ask, we kind of do a little orientation with them, and we say, are you using, what clearinghouse are you using, and are you using NEA? And when I get I don't know what NEA is, that kind of scares me that they're handling the claims for that office, and they don't know about sending claims electronically, or they don't know who their clearinghouse is. And that's the clearinghouse is the middleman that's getting you paid, or that you're sending your claims through, that's dispersing those claims to the insurance company. So knowing the ins and outs of your clearinghouse and knowing how to use NEA are going to significantly increase your collections.
Yeah, thanks for that explanation on the NEAs. I think that's very important. What about secondary claims? Secondary insurance. How do you deal with that? What's your policy there, or ideas?
Secondary insurance it's more and more common in every single office now. For a while, most people just had a primary plan, but recently, it's more and more people are going to have dual insurance, and some people even have tertiary insurance, which is pretty crazy when it comes down to it in the dental world. But you just have to stay on top of it. A lot of times you can get a little bit more reimbursement when you send it to secondary insurance. You always need to include the primary EOB whenever you're sending in a secondary claim. Every secondary claim, regardless of what primary paid, is going to make their own determination based off of the claim itself. You always need to send in attachments if it's a major service or any other service that needs attachments. Send in with it. But you do see more reimbursement. It does help a patient out depending on what their premiums are and whatnot. All that can be broken down, but it does help out patients to have dual insurance. mainly when it comes to frequencies. You can get that third cleaning in a year. You can get that third or even fourth cleaning or exam in a year because that's when your secondary insurance will pick it up. Primary is usually only going to pick up 2 of those in a given year. So that's when it does help. But one thing to understand about secondary insurance is they're not always just going to, one of them pays 50% of the claim, the other one pays the other 50%, totaling for the total amount paid. They have what's called a non-duplication clause. And most insurances have this non-duplication clause. So I know that when it comes to fee schedules being put in and insurances, if you're participating with insurances, one's going to have a different fee associated with that procedure than the other. Sometimes, one's just going to have a smaller fee. They're only going to pay, say, on a crown, 50% of that fee. So if you're sending in a $600 crown and Delta Dental is your primary, they're going to pay $300. If Guardian's your secondary and they have a lower fee, they might not even send you anything because Delta already sent $300. So if Guardian's fee was lower and they only pay, $250, they already think that Delta's paid, or they know that Delta's paid more than what they would have already. It's difficult to explain on a phone call. With that being said, non-duplication is a big deal, and I think that's where there's a misconception with patients. They just think, I've got dual insurance, it's all going to be paid, but that's not always the case, and it's up to the office to kind of patient educate, let these patients know exactly what their insurance constitutes and what they can expect from it.
Yeah. So basically, in your example there, 50%, that $600 amount, the policy for Delta is 50% coverage. Let's say Delta pays $200, and Guardian's policy also says 50% coverage. So what you're saying here is that Guardian will likely default to their fee schedule when they process their portion of that $600 bill. Is that what you're saying?
You got it. They're only gonna base their coverage or their payment off their own fees. So they have a lower fee schedule, and Delta Dental's paid 50%, and Guardian has the same coverage at 50%. And Delta Dental's got a higher fee. Guardian might not send you anything because they're like, you already received $300. We would have only paid $275, so we're not sending you anything.
Gotcha.
That's the non-duplication clause.
So the key.
Ben, that's where you come in. Everybody wants higher fees.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's where you come in.
Yeah, we'll kick the insurance companies in the ass for you and get them a higher fee there. But key question here. So let's say Delta's $600. Delta's in the primary position. They pay $200. Guardian pays $0 because their crown allowed amount is $400. And so they think that the $200 that was paid was sufficient. That covers their 50% portion. What does the office do? Are they entitled to collect another $100 extra on top of, the other $300? In this case, $400 from the patient to balance bill it up to $600, or what?
No, by law, you have to take, if you're in network with both of these insurance companies, you have to take the lower of the fee schedule.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
That patient would get that extra $200 write-off to the $400 Guardian fee. So that's when that additional insurance would actually help the patient. No, Guardian's not making a payment, but there is going to be a write-off to $400 as opposed to the write-off only to $600 for Delta Dental.
See, I thought I knew this, but I'm glad I'm talking to you because this reinforces the expertise. I mean, I'm in insurance every single day, but I hear so many different things from office managers and from insurance companies as it pertains to the question that I just asked. In my opinion, I always thought that if you're in network and the insurance carrier chooses to use a lower fee schedule, their fee schedule, there's really not a whole lot you can do unless you negotiate that fee. So you've just completely answered a question that has been looming in my head for the last 10 years. I probably had the answer before, but this is the reason why, folks, you need to talk to people like the Dental ClaimSupport, is simply because there's just so many things you think that are probably not 100% correct. So thank you, Josh and Davey, for sharing that.
Yeah, so cool. So I got a question for you guys. It sounds like you guys do a lot, when it comes to service for dental practices. Do you guys replace current staff members when a practice signs up with you guys?
We honestly like to say that we don't. Now, the practice needs to have some semblance of a front desk. You need to be able to to be patient focused. You need to be able to enter in insurance, and again, like we said, data entry. Make sure the patient flow works. But other than that, yeah, we pretty much handle everything else. We're making sure that claims get to the insurance. We're making sure they process. We also post payments, and we do your insurance agent report. That is what takes up the most time in an office. So, what we always like to say is that, we're here to take that other time away from the office manager that's, in a sense, wearing too many hats.
Yeah, they're spread way too thin.
Doing too much. It's really helped. Our main testimonials, and the good ones, are people that they pretty much hit on why we started this. We have been in the office. I've been an office manager. I've also been in a centralized billing department. I know the best of both worlds. And what happens is, a lot of times that phone is ringing, that patient is in front of you. You're presenting treatment to a patient. You're explaining insurance to a patient. You don't have the time necessarily to be calling on all these claims, not to mention when you're on hold for 30, 45 minutes to get something done. So that's where we come in, and it's also, again, done at an expert level, and it's done daily. And another thing that happens with an outsourced billing company such as us, we work when you're not there.
Cool.
If you've got internet going on at your office, we're logged in and we're working. I mean, that's just the way it works. And just because you're off doesn't mean the insurance company is closed. And we're able to call on claims. We're able to still collect money, post money, while you're away at vacation having a good old time. So that's another benefit of what we do. And it's not just one person. When you go with dental claim support, you're going to have 4 or 5 different billers on your account any given day. So
yeah, I like that. You get a lot more support in my experience using a company like yours. Key question about in-network versus out-of-network. So we have clients, many of them, that are exiting PPO participation.
Likewise, we have those too.
They're going out of network. And what we see, like a good example is MetLife. To me, MetLife is one of the easier plans for offices to go out of network with. But we have a friend up in Pennsylvania. She dropped MetLife, and the claims are just crazy different. I mean, they're not what we usually see. For instance, one of the EOBs came back and says that the patient had a $25,000 annual maximum.
Yeah.
The allowed amount on the cleaning didn't reflect what the office billed. It was a completely different allowed amount, and then the percentage coverage, of course, was based upon that allowed amount. And I've never really seen that with MetLife in the history of offices being out of network with MetLife. I'm sure you see these things from time to time as well. So when you have offices that you're working with that are transitioning out of network, do you see irregularities that could possibly be a mistake in how MetLife may be processing those EOBs? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And these plans, they're all plan specific. It's not necessarily MetLife doing the wrong thing or processing the claim incorrectly. Again, a common thing that a lot of patients don't understand is they go, I have 100% coverage for my preventive work, but that's just 100% of that plan's allowable. So even if you're not network,
it's confusing.
Yeah, MetLife could, just take it this way. Their allowable is $60 for a cleaning. You're not network. You charge $100 at your office. That patient's going to come out of pocket $40. But to them, they go, oh, well, I get 100% coverage on preventive work, which is my cleaning. I shouldn't owe anything. And you go, no, they only pay off their own allowable fee. Does not matter if you're in network with them or not, or if you're not network. They're still going to pay off their own fee. Now, again, it's plan specific. Some employers might purchase a better plan. They might pay a little bit more for the plan, and that's when MetLife might have a higher allowable based off an out-of-network fee. Or if you send 100, they might pay 95. They might pay all 100. That's when it all depends on the zip code where you are. And that's, again, where you would come in more, Ben. It's just one of those situations. So
yeah.
it is plan specific.
Gotcha. Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. It's just interesting to me that a practice in New York City dropping MetLife, and then a practice in Chico, California dropping MetLife, and they can see two completely different things on how the claims are paid. So the employer-specific plans that are drawn is usually a result. I guess the leading factor as to why the claims are different from state to state to state is what you're saying.
Correct.
Cool.
You got it.
Cool. Thanks for clarifying
Awesome.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you guys offer like consulting or training services for the practices, or do you guys do it all in house and do you help them get educated, I guess?
We do. That's part of our little claim support aspect. It's the posting and insurance agent reports, and then we have a little claim support. And we help out with that. Listen, if we can help the office to understand how to put patients in the correct way and understand, what needs to be done on their end, it only makes our jobs easier too. And it's peace of mind for the doctor. They're collecting what they're producing. They've got 100% collections. Everybody's happy. We've seen these doctors implement bonus systems, create another operatory because they're doing so well. We've had offices that have bought another practice and been like, hey, thank God you guys are here because now you all can just take over my billing at square one. So it is important. We do need the front desk to be held accountable for certain things, but yeah.
Absolutely.
We work absolutely directly with the front desk, but if we do see that things aren't going on the right way, we definitely let the doctor know. I mean, this is the doctor's business. Let's be honest about it. They are business owners, and most dentists don't have a business degree. Therefore, they might need a little bit of extra hand when it comes to running the business. So they're going to need that help. Absolutely.
Cool.
Awesome.
And I'm assuming you're HIPAA compliant and all that. In terms of if an office wanted to reach out to you, you're good to go there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all covered in contract and the whole 9 yards.
That's number one, being HIPAA compliant. So.
Do you guys affiliate with that with patients? For instance, call on statements and things of that nature. Or if there's any type of patient communication involved, do you do any of that?
We don't, Ben, and that's kind of what we opened up with was the insurance bulldog part. The AR Ninja, he can, they handle the patient side. Our main focus is that insurance side. So, that's where we are experts, and that's where we're going to come in and really hammer down and get your agent report under control and get your system in line. So no, and that's where we come in with the team, with the front desk, and train them on what they should be collecting up front and how to collect that money from the patient.
Yeah. No, I think that's. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Ben.
No, I like that. I like that.
So do I.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jordan.
Dude.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think it's always important for the staff to maintain a good relationship with the patients, and the insurance companies are the ones that need to be put in line and supported with a service like what you guys do. So I think it's awesome. Sorry, Ben, you can talk now. That's what I wanted to say.
No, I was gonna say I like that too, because there are some groups that do patient communication. Yeah. And oftentimes what you're telling the patient and then what the office doesn't know, it kind of causes conflict on their end.
Absolutely.
In terms of not being on the same page. So I think that's pretty cool. That's a neat policy that you have there.
Yeah. Cool. Well, you guys, this has been such an awesome episode, I think. You guys, what are some final thoughts you guys may have for our audience about your service and what you guys can do to help them?
I don't know. I think one thing that we'd like to just kind of share is we've been there. We know that insurance can get you bogged down, and insurance can be very intricate, and it might only get more intricate as we go, but there are ways to beat insurance companies, and I think we just want people to know that there is light at the end of that, like insurance tunnel, so to speak. There are ways to combat what we deal with daily, and we can help offices do that. And sometimes you look at an agent report and you're like, wow, there's no way I can do this. But sit down, grind it out, make it happen, and everybody ends up being happier.
My biggest thing would be to tell all the dentists listening and office managers to run your insurance agent report numbers. Run your over 30 day and then divide it by your 0 day. And we want that number to be around 10 or 11%. When we get new clients, they're at the 60% range. They're at 80% range. And you got to be in that 10% range over 30 days. So only 10% of your claims should be over 30 days. And don't wait till they're over a year old to start calling on them, because you're not going to get those paid. You got to get those claims paid, and you got to call on them to get them paid. So that'd be my advice is run your numbers, know your numbers, and don't wait too long.
Yeah, you're the dentist. Take control of your practice.
Cool.
You're producing 1.5 and say net production of 1.2 due to some write-offs. Don't be happy with just collecting $1 million. I mean, $1 million on 1.2 is 83%. That's not a good rate. You're leaving $200,000 out there, and yeah, you're still collecting $1 million. That's a lot of money, but you can do a lot better than that. Be willing to change. Kind of take control of the situation. Understand your own numbers.
Cool.
Yeah, love it.
Hey, two things real quick here, Davey and Josh. Can we share your contact information if anybody's interested in reaching out to you or want to learn more?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Our number is 912-355-6100, and our website is dentalclaimsupport.com. I can be reached at dclay, D as in Davy, CLAY, at dentalclaimsupport.com.
Awesome.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. And then,
Yes, sir.
so we will post that information in the show notes, as we always do for our guests. So if any of you are driving or are listening and you want more information, one nice thing about their website is that when you go to dentalclaimsupport.com, you can go to the filing tips, and there's a bunch of great resources there: how to appeal a claim, protect your dental office from fraud,
Nice.
the benefits of outsourcing your billing, how to avoid delays and denials, things like that. Questions that we get on a daily basis that I think these two are better equipped to answer. And then the last thing, this is just a fun request. Georgia scores a touchdown. they it's kickoff time. They kick off the ball.
I know where you're going with this.
Can you give us your best Georgia Bulldog bark?
Oh man, I guess we kind of have to.
Okay, so that was that.
Nice.
Was that you,
Ben.
Josh, or was that you, Davey?
It was.
Okay, so we want one from both of you at the same time. You ready?
Oh, man, you're putting us on the spot.
Touchdown.
I'll say go Dogs.
Go Dogs!
No dog.
How's that? Well, hey guys, thank you so much for being on the show today. It was fun and
So good.
Yeah, well, we'd love to have you guys on again if you're interested in that. But
Absolutely.
In the meantime, we want to highly recommend to our listeners to reach out to you both, and we hope that the Georgia Bulldogs have a great rest of 2018 and a great 17 and a great 2018. But thanks again, guys. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Ben
guys.
Jordan. We really appreciate it.
Thanks a ton for having us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.